Welcome to this masterclass on Million Dollar Book Secrets, how to make $1 million with your book without selling thousands of copies. And this is based on my book, Million Dollar Book Secrets, the author's shortcut to making millions without mass book sales. So in this presentation, I am going to be talking about common author goals, what the realities are. I'm going to share my story of how I made $1 million with a book. So, do you have $1 million book? If you don't, I want to encourage you to go to the website extramileja8.com/MBC and you can take the survey. And in this masterclass, I'll explain what $1 million book looks like. So I'm Kamika Ruth Taylor. I am an entrepreneurship specialist, best-selling author of over 30 books, CEO and founder of Bamboo Sparks Publishing, creator of the Entrepreneur Secrets Academy, and the author of this book, $1 Million Book Secrets. And it is based on my experience of making a full-time living with my books and the programs that I've created around books and services since 2018. That's July 2018. And a little bit more, I will tell you my story. So I discovered that in order to make money faster with books, that I needed to develop programs, particularly training, coaching, and membership programs around my books. And so there's one particular book that has brought in $1 million Jamaican dollars more than once. It has brought in at least 25,000 US dollars in a period of 3 to 4 years. And I want to share those secrets with you. All right, but what do authors want? I did a little survey in terms of what authors want. Authors are looking for book sales. They want to sell millions of copies of their books because in this way they can read as many people as possible and they want to make an impact. And so if they sell more books, there's a possibility of making a greater impact. They also want financial freedom to make money from their books and they want to transform lives with their books. And most authors primarily are thinking of doing this through book sales. Hence, we have the title best-selling author. That's how the success for books and authorship has been measured for more than 100 years. But guess what the reality is, especially if you're an independent author, but even if you're traditionally published and you don't have a big name, a big following, you're not a Michelle Obama, somebody with a name and a following, then your chances of selling many books without doing strategic marketing and putting lots of money behind it and getting the experts to help you, your chance of selling more than 1,000 books is low. So what the studies are showing is that many books are being produced each year, but little book sales. So even though there are a lot of authors publishing books, most authors don't sell many. And a typical independent published author, those who are financing their publication, will sell on average between 200 and 1,000 copies of the book in his lifetime. Now, that is discouraging, but I am talking to authors who are not average. I've sold more than 5,000 copies of my books, and apart from my first book where I was speaking and selling, this has just been happening organically. The Alliance of Independent Authors did a survey in 2023. Each year they do this big data drop in terms of looking at income for authors. And it has been shown that independently published authors or self-published authors are even making more money than traditionally published authors. Those are the ones who get the book deal and go through the publishing house. On average, what they found in 2023 from those who responded to the survey right around the world, and Ally is a nonprofit organization that represents independent authors, and they stand for Ethics and Excellence in Book Publishing, and I am the Caribbean representative. They found that the average author was earning 12,749 US per year. That's over 2 million Jamaican dollars, and that would be very good for us as authors, right? And these authors were spending at least 50% of their time on writing and marketing related activities or publishing related activities. And some were just selling book sales alone. Of course, you have those who are not average that were making, more than 20,000 per year or over 100,000 per year. But if we're making this kind of money as Caribbean people, it would be good for us. But what if you could meet your author goals, still sell books, and make your author income goal without selling thousands of copies? Would you be interested in that? That's what I want to talk about today. So I want to challenge you to make $1 million, especially your author income goal, with a book with no more than 12 buyers. And you may be like, what? How is that possible? For us, for example, in Jamaica, $1 million is about 6,250 US dollars. So I'm saying make over 6,000 US dollars, convert that to your currency. Most Caribbean islands, the US dollars is strong. And even if you're not in a country like Jamaica, another developing country, but even just making an extra 6,000 US dollars is beneficial. It can go a far way. So I'm going to talk to you about how I made $1 million with a book with no more than 10 buyers. So in July 2018, I left my part-time job and I felt that God was saying to me, no more 9 to 5. All I had were my books. And prior to that, I published my first book in 2015, and I tried to make a living just selling books. It took me 1 whole year before I sold 1,000 copies of my books, and I was just selling that for like 10 US dollars or between 1,000 and 1,500 Jamaican dollars. And run about the 9-month mark, I realized this wasn't working to pay my bills. And I was kind of like fretting each time the rent was going to be paid and to put food on the table. It was a real challenge. And so I knew that just selling books alone wasn't enough. So I got business coaching, and my coach talked to me about coaching, taught me how to find the right audience for your book. And we came up with a plan. And within the first month, I was able to match my part-time salary. And then I started offering publishing services in 2018. October 2018, I formed a group to teach authors how to write and publish a book cost effectively. Because I had been doing that, I learned how to publish a book for less than 500 US dollars after going into $1 million in debt for my first book in terms of printing, launching it, the whole shebang. And so I went from $1 million mistakes to discovering $1 million blueprint. And so I started publishing for others. And of course, that with a few clients will yield $1 million fast. For example, in Bamboo Sparks today, we have 2 publishing packages primarily. One starts at 2.5, the other starts at 3.5. If you put them together, then you will see with just 2 or 3 clients, you can make $1 million Jamaican dollars. But that's not the one I want to talk to you about, because many authors don't want to go into book publishing, offer their skills and knowledge of publishing and to publish for authors. And so I want to show you how I did that with my book, Authorpreneur Secrets. I knew that many people don't want to read, and that became an opportunity for me. People may not buy your book for $20 and read it, but they will pay you 10 times and more to hear what you have written in your book. And that's what I took advantage of. And I created a program around my book. Now, my expertise was in writing and publishing books, writing fast. I can write a book in 24 hours. I can write a book in 30 days. I can write and publish in a day. And so I wanted to teach people how to write fast, publish cost effectively, and how to generate lasting income with their books without selling many books. That's my expertise. Your expertise could be something else. And so I started a group on Teachable where I was teaching. I would take the chapters of the book and turn them into a masterclass. And I offered that the first 5 persons to join, if they stayed for a year, then I wouldn't charge them again for the lifetime of the program. So that was what they call a founders. So I had these 5 persons paying $40 US per month. And the initial program was for a year. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to sign up to it. My thing is with faith, courage, and consistent action, we're going to make it. And then in the second year of the program, I took back in another 5 or so persons, and they were paying $47. And within the first 18 months of helping authors to write and publish and using the content of this book and teaching them how to generate income, I was able to make over $1 million Jamaican dollars. Now, what you're looking at on the screen is income over 3 years, 2020, May 2022, I think it's June 2023 on Teachable, and that's over 12,000 US dollars earned in gross after Teachable took out their fees and there were some refunds. It's over 10,000 US dollars. Now that is about 1.6 million Jamaican dollars. So that's more than $1 million. And I continue offering the program. I also have built like coaching programs, training programs at 1,500 US dollars. And so you only need 5 or 6 people with that program in order to make $1 million and more. So that was a key part of my strategy. So how does this model work? Well, I want to tell you what the secrets are. If you focus on the content rather than the container, you could create more impact and income faster. What do I mean by that? Your book really is information in written form, packaged on paper. And so many times authors get stuck just saying, buy my book, buy my book. But is that the only way that people can get the content that is in the book? No. And so what happens, because the book gives you a sense of authority and it opens door, and a book is just a powerful tool, it is good to capture what you want to say in the book. And the kind of book that becomes $1 million book is one that showcase something that you've been through, you've overcome, something that you know that you can pass on to others. So this book, The Authorpreneur's Secrets book, was based on principles that I'd learned to write a book fast, how to publish it cost effectively, and how to generate income with it. So I wanted to help others to do what I did, right? So reproduce after your own kind. So that's one of the secrets. And your book need to have the information to help people to reproduce the results that you've gotten, to show that you're an expert and you want to share your story and your journey of transformation. It can be fiction or nonfiction. You want to get paid to deliver that transformation, right? So you create a program of transformation to reproduce the results that you got in somebody else's life. And then you use your book now as a main promotional tool, marketing tool, or text. So you need a small credibility building book, preferably non-fiction, but fiction can work. And I'm going to show you how a fiction example of that. So you need to have a paid program or service around your book that can be delivered online in 3 to 12 months. And you need a small community to serve consistently through free community events and paid programs. So I had my Indie Authorpreneurs Facebook group. I also had my email list of followers. And I got these followers by giving away one of my books, ebooks, for free. I also got it by giving away like a PDF checklist. I started with 7 secrets to publish on a budget. And so I built this group with the aim of teaching them to create impact and income and how to publish on a budget. And I would teach them these things. And eventually I got this big goal to raise up 10,000 entrepreneurs by 2030. And that became my mission. And I turned the same book into a summit and lots of teaching and just trying to help this group of people to become like me to get these results. And some of the people I knew before from my missions days or from my school days, and they were on my list, and I would communicate with them and share information to help them to write books or to publish books, to market books, all of those things. And this is the same community from which I got the clients. So over 3 years or 4 years that I had that program, I had about 34 persons in it. And a lot of them, about 90% of them were from the group or from my network of people that I was communicating with. So you need to have measurable, transformable outcomes that people are willing to pay for. No, people kept coming to me and asking me to publish, and I did not want to publish. But God said to me that I was leaving money on the table when my bills were due. And since I went through the process, I started publishing for free, and then I started charging. And as I delivered the program, I would evaluate what's working and what's not working. So I would pilot and pivot. For example, the Entrepreneur Secrets Academy, the membership group, I discovered that at 6 months, most persons were finished with publishing. And so I stopped having the program on a 1-year basis and I moved it to 6 months. And then I moved the price from $40 all the way up to $99 per month. So I did the evaluation and I saw that they were getting a lot of value from this. And so you have to find something that people would be willing to pay you for. So how could you make the $1 million? There are a couple of models and you can do the math with 1 to 10 buyer, depending on the price of the program and who you're offering it to. Somebody might want to pay you $6,000 or less. So I prefer 1 to 10 buyers, a 3 to 6 month program that will cost $600 to $6,000. And then you can break that up into people paying you that between 3 to 12 months. So you could have a low ticket offer where that is between $15 and $40 per month, and you have 10 people paying you that to deliver the program around your book to get whatever transformation they want. So that means your program would be cost between $180 or $480 per year. And you would need 13 to 35 buyers, depending on what you're doing. And you make the book a part of that program, right? Or you could have the 6 months program with 5 to 12 buyers paying $99 to $199 per month. That means the program would cost between $592 and call it say $1,200. And because it's recurring revenue and you have these people paying you, it's easier to reach the target. Or it could be a premium program where in 1 to 3 months you make that. And that would mean that people have to be paying you over $2,000 per month, or even if it's 1 to 3 months, it depends on the number of people that are in that program. It can be a 3-month program where each person paying you $600 or $1,000. And if you have 10 people in that, you exceed your target. So let's look at the math. If you have 10 clients paying 100,000 Jamaican dollars, then you would make $1 million. So you have to say, what is it that I could create? What kind of program would allow me to earn this? And you may think that people really going to pay? If they've been asking you about it, if you've delivered seminars on it, if they're buying your book, it means that they're interested in what your book has to offer. So what you're going to do is build a program of support and guidance and training with the book now and have enough people paying you that every month. So if you have 10 clients paying you $600 a month, that's $6,000. You almost reach a target. If you have 10 clients paying you $1,000, that's $10,000 either over 10 months or per month, depending on how many you have in the program. If you have 10 clients paying you $1,500 for a program around your book, then that is 15,000 US. You can determine how long the program is, and you can go on and on and on. So you have to have courage to charge and know the value that you're offering. And like I said, if you're afraid to charge high rates, you don't want to charge $600 per month, create a $600 program where people pay you $60 each month, and you can create a group program. And so they are coming to see you and paying that. That's what I did. Now, when we talk about $1 million book, it's a book that helps people to see you and to say, oh, she's done this. Oh, this is what she's good at. Oh, but if she can write about this, I can learn from her. And that now becomes a magnet, a marketing tool, a business card to bring people to you. So I remember going to a book launch, and my friend Joanne Richards was launching a book, and I won a book there by Henika Watkins Porter. And as I was transitioning, to becoming an entrepreneur, there are a lot of things that I didn't know. And when I read her book, I realized, whoa, this person has knowledge. And she was also into podcasting. And so when I was trying to learn podcasting by myself for months, and it just wasn't making sense. And I read her book and it became clear. And then I discovered that she had a program for $200. I didn't have the money for it, but I signed up for the program. I asked her if I could go on a payment plan. Remember, faith, courage, and consistent action. You're going to make it. And so I ended up getting into that program, starting with no money like I normally do. And I was able to set up my podcast. And so today, I have a podcast that is ranked among the top 50 and, self-publishing podcast in the world, best podcast and best marketing podcast, top 50 in the world as well. And that's from her. So imagine if she had 10 people paying her 200, it may have been $270 or $297 for the program. 10 people paying her that each month. She would easily reach her target. But it was a book that drew me to her. And then after that, I wanted her to coach me in entrepreneurship, and she had a program that cost $1,600 or $1,500 US dollars. No, I didn't have the money, but I already experienced some things with her. I did a mastermind with her. I did a podcasting with her. I saw results, and my mind was not in a good place. I had a lot of mindset issues that were holding me back. And with her coaching, I was able to move forward and begin to profit from my business. So imagine if she had even 6 people paying her $1,500 for that program, then she would easily reach her target, right? But it was a book that I read of hers, that she was explaining something and sharing an experience and sharing about what she had done, that drew me to her. And that's the power of $1 million book. $1 million book is a trust and credibility building tool and content for your transformational program. So it's not any and every book that can be used. You have to think creatively. How can I use my book to deliver a result that people are willing to pay for, to make a difference? Because people pay to learn. How can my book be part of a teaching program, a coaching program, mentoring that people will be willing to pay for to get results? So the book did that. Another author had a book called Start, Grow, Thrive. That's Nerissa Golden. I read this book and I recognized, wow, this woman really knew what she was talking about. And this was a fiction book, but it was telling a story of how somebody built a business from selling fried dumplings to having a global conglomerate, right? And even though it was fiction, I was like, whoa, I need to have this person coach me. And I already knew Nerissa because she was at our summit. Our summit is a free event, and I use the summit to promote the academy. And that's how we got clients for 3 years. And so I heard her speak. I read her book. This was the second book of hers. Another book was Caribbeanpreneur, but this one, it says Start, Grow, Thrive, How to Build a Business to Last. And I was interested in that. And so again, I couldn't afford her. She was like $500 an hour, and I ended up spending over 2,000 US dollars with her. Faith, courage, and consistent action. But it started because she had a book that made me see her. It shared her story. It offered her experience and her expertise. And that's what you want to do. You're going to build a program that demonstrates all of this, or you're going to have to get very creative. If you don't already have a $1 million book, you're going to have to create one. So you have to go create, program, and publish a book that documents your experience. You want to help somebody to reproduce what you have done and to transform their lives. No ideas of programs that you can use. If it is something that you presented on, you can get paid for it. It's a matter of what you're going to charge. If you've taught on the thing, you can get paid for it. If you've given advice on the thing, you can get paid for it, because people always pay to learn. If they bought your book, it means that somebody would be interested, and you just need to price it. In the beginning, you may start off with a very low price, because you are testing to see if there is interest. And once you start getting testimonials and you work out your framework, how am I going to do this? Then you would be able to offer it again and do it. And so you can buy my book, $1 Million Book Secrets, to do this on your own. The book is $20 US. You can also get the audiobook. I think the audiobook may be $5 or $10, and the ebook is there for, I think it's $9.99 is the ebook. And I break down the 3 models that I use to earn more with my books. So you could do it on your own, or you could join our mastermind for 90 days. We're going to help you to design the program, practice presenting it to the group, and then you're going to launch it in the 3rd month. But you can do it before, because the first time I had this $1 Million Book Secrets webinar live, within 3 hours, somebody created a program and started promoting it. At the time of recording this, the program is still open, so I don't know how much is made, but you can take the stuff and run with it. Now, many persons like me, they learn better with a coach, or when you have a group to support you. So you can join a $1 Million Book Mastermind whenever the cohort is being offered to get the support. We also have individual programs to get to the same results, so from manuscript to millions. So like for the first 4 weeks, we would meet every week to flesh out the program. And there's a framework that we would use and put a launch system in place. And then by the 2nd month now, we are promoting, launching, and by the 3rd month now, you're launching that program and you're getting support. You get templates and all of that jazz. You can join the $1 Million Book Mastermind, or you can book an individual consultation session with me, or you can work with me one-on-one from manuscript to millions. Or if you already have your book, I can work with you over 3 to 6 months to launch your $1 Million Book program. So that is more a done for you program. If you just have an idea and you want somebody to help you to write and publish that $1 Million book and to launch a $1 Million program, I can help you. So we have the mastermind, we have the $1 Million Rockstar, and we have the $1 Million Superstar program. All right, that's it for today. Just reminding you that of the making of books, there is no end. Go pen it to win it and dominate entrepreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.